In the twisted folds of the parallel, where history bends and reality tilts, the tale of Joe Biden unfolds as a tragic epic. Once heralded as the leader who would unite a fractured nation, Biden's presidency descended into chaos, blunders, and manipulation. This is the story of the rise and tragic fall of Joe Biden, where ambition, folly, and intrigue collide in ways no one could have foreseen. But this isn't an ordinary tale. Far from it. This story unfolds in a universe both hauntingly familiar and utterly foreign. A place where reality bends and history takes a daring new shape. Watch until the end, because what lies ahead will change how you see everything. You might think you know how this story ends, and you do, but at the same time, you don't. The 2020 election wasn't a campaign. It was a circus. While Trump barnstormed rallies, Joe Biden largely campaigned from his Delaware basement. Officially, this was due to pandemic precautions, but insiders knew the truth. His handlers feared he'd wander off script and challenge Trump to a fistfight. His team, the Basement Battalion, went to absurd lengths to avoid gaffes. When Biden ventured out, reporters faced emergency diversions, from fire alarms to flash mobs of bald eagle mascots. The teleprompter was a double-edged sword. During one speech, Biden read aloud, "Smile and wave like you're not lost," prompting confusion and laughter. Election night capped the chaos. Locked in his basement, Biden watched Trump's press conferences veer into the bizarre, including the infamous Four Seasons total landscaping debacle. When the networks finally called the race for Biden, his handlers celebrated, only to realize he was still locked in. By the time they released him, Jill had popped the champagne, and Biden emerged blinking like a mole. His victory speech went smoothly until fireworks startled him into shouting, "Who's shooting?" Despite the spectacle, Biden became the 46th president. His team quickly realized that keeping him in the basement might have been easier than letting him run the country. Biden's presidency was marked by confusion and incompetence, much of it orchestrated by a mysterious operative, officially a senior policy advisor. Though appointed by Biden, not much was known about the operative other than they identified as non-binary and preferred the pronouns they, them. The true motives of this operative remain unknown, but they were clearly rooted in progressive policies. The operative exploited Biden's absent-mindedness. Meetings were held during nap hours, memos were written in large print, and all journalists allowed to interact with Biden had their questions approved in advance. "Joe, we're gonna save the planet," the operative would say, sliding a document across the desk. "All you have to do is sign here." Biden, delighted at the prospect of saving anything, would nod enthusiastically and add his signature. Hours later, staff would discover he had just canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, a move that sent shockwaves through the economy. Later, the operative used the same tactics to get Biden to approve Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The withdrawal from Afghanistan was another stroke of the operative's dark genius. What should have been a carefully planned exit turned into what historians would later describe as the world's most chaotic yard sale. Biden's decision to leave billions of dollars worth of military equipment behind was reportedly influenced by a briefing prepared by the operative titled, "Guns Are Bad for the Environment." The fallout wasn't just domestic. Vladimir Putin, emboldened by the spectacle of U.S. incompetence, saw an opportunity and invaded Ukraine. Biden's response was as bewildering as it was ineffectual. "We're going to stop them with diplomacy, folks," he said, before signing an executive order banning all imports of borscht. As Russian tanks rolled into Kyiv, Biden mistakenly congratulated Ukraine on hosting such a large parade. The move plunged Europe into chaos and sent energy prices soaring. "We're all in this together," Biden remarked at a press conference, ignoring a reporter who asked if he even knew where Ukraine was. At the border, deportations halted. Walls were left unfinished or disassembled entirely, and gates mysteriously malfunctioned. When Biden visited Texas, he mistook migrants for his welcoming committee and shouted, "It's great to be in Mexico." foreign policy fared no better. Biden released billions in frozen funds to Iran for irrigation. This funding was later linked to attacks on Israel. When pressed, Biden muttered, "Can't missiles irrigate?" Biden's interactions with the press were a spectacle in their own right. In one memorable instance, as he began to answer an unscripted question about foreign policy, a staffer disguised as the Easter Bunny suddenly appeared, ushering him away with a basket of eggs. The incident trended on social media as #Bunnygate, with memes of the commander-in-chief Hop flooding the internet. Biden's re-election campaign was doomed from the start. Allies struggled to defend his increasingly bizarre behavior, like fist-bumping a Secret Service agent for 5 minutes, or mistakenly referring to Kamala Harris as Madam President. The debate against Trump sealed his fate. Biden walked on stage, waved to an empty audience, and spent much of the night zoning out, drooling, or wandering off stage in search of a vending machine. At one point, he fell asleep, and when startled awake, started to tell a story about his hairy legs. "I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun," he exclaimed from the debate stage. "And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again." The night's climax came when Biden wandered from the podium and fell off the stage. The fallout was immediate. Democratic leaders and donors resorted to increasingly creative ways to hint that it was time for Biden to step aside. A group of governors sent him a retirement gift basket containing a gold watch, a pair of slippers, and a brochure titled "Your Next Great Adventure." Meanwhile, donors curated a Spotify playlist titled "It's Time to Go," featuring songs like "Closing Time" and "Hit the Road, Jack." The most audacious gesture came from a group of tech billionaires who gifted Biden a custom-made golden toilet engraved with the words, "Your seat awaits." Thrilled by the gift, Biden had it installed in the West Wing and dubbed his restroom trips strategy sessions. Despite mounting pressure, Biden refused to step aside until the operative intervened. During what Biden believed was an infrastructure speech, the teleprompter text was swapped for a retirement announcement. "Folks, I've decided to not seek re-election," Biden read, confused but continuing. "It's time to pass the torch to the next generation." The audience cheered, and Biden, still clueless, asked his handlers, "Did I nail it?" Kamala Harris, who had ascended to the role of Democratic nominee after Biden's reluctant retirement speech, faced a brutal general election campaign against a resurgent Donald Trump. Despite her best efforts, Harris lost in a landslide, her campaign hampered by lackluster enthusiasm and a series of ill-timed cackling fits during poorly attended rallies. With his presidency effectively over, Biden spent his final months aimlessly wandering the White House. He startled staffers by appearing in unexpected places, like the Situation Room, where he ordered a ham sandwich, or the Lincoln bedroom, where he offered visiting diplomats a bedtime story. In a whirlwind of last-minute decisions, Biden issued a flurry of pardons that left the nation scratching its head. Hunter Biden received a pardon for his conviction in a bizarre, involuntary jet ski fraud scheme, which Biden dismissed as just a misunderstanding about water sports. Martha Stewart was pardoned for what Biden called crimes against the culinary arts, even though she hadn't been charged with anything new. Dr. Anthony Fauci was granted a pardon for excessive PowerPoint use, while General Mark Milley was pardoned for his infamous decision to wear Crocs during a classified briefing, a move Biden joked was a soul-saving measure. Miley Cyrus, though never accused of a crime, received a pardon because her name kind of sounded like General Milley. Biden also issued preemptive pardons to his family members and friends, including his brother James Biden, sister Valerie Biden Owens, their spouses, and his father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. In a particularly baffling move, Biden even pardoned his dog Major for biting multiple Secret Service agents. The pardons were capped off with a symbolic gesture, clemency for the Statue of Liberty, which Biden claimed had stood around doing nothing for too long. As the pardons piled up, aides muttered that the mysterious operative might have had a hand in the chaos, though no one dared to confirm it. The pardons were followed by a flurry of bizarre executive orders that baffled even his most loyal supporters. Among the most notable was the declaration that Scranton, Pennsylvania, would replace Washington, D.C. as the new capital of the United States. Federal agencies were ordered to relocate immediately, prompting panicked government workers to search for housing in the small city. Scranton's mayor assured the public they'd figure it out, announcing plans for an emergency apartment complex and a new Waffle House to accommodate the influx. Biden also introduced a sweeping electric car mandate called the Charge Up America Order, requiring all vehicles to go electric by the end of 2025. He dismissed the potential impacts of this order, saying, "Folks, this is what progress looks like. Sometimes you just gotta find a plug." He encouraged drivers to plug into anything with an outlet, including vending machines and mall bathrooms. Another headline-making order established National Pancake Day as a federal holiday. Biden celebrated the first National Pancake Day by flipping pancakes on the White House lawn. These orders joined an already surreal list of Biden's final policies. One decree mandated that all clocks in federal buildings be set 5 minutes ahead to keep America on time, throwing entire agencies into disarray. Another declared that all federal employees must wear pajamas to work every Friday to promote comfort and creativity in the workplace. The sight of cabinet members in footy pajamas during high-level meetings became an instant internet sensation, with one observer noting, "National security has never looked so snuggly." After leaving the White House, Joe Biden returned to Delaware, settling into his home in Wilmington. Despite stepping out of the political spotlight, his habits remained largely unchanged. He still wandered aimlessly around his property, occasionally startling visitors by appearing in unexpected places, like his neighbor's yard. Stairs remained his greatest adversary, with locals reporting at least 3 tumbles down his porch in the first month alone. Though no longer president, Biden occasionally forgot his status, attempting to issue executive orders. On one occasion, he wandered into a town hall meeting and proclaimed, "I hereby declare Thursday as free parking day in all of Delaware." On another, he tried to approve a local McDonald's drive-thru expansion, much to the confusion of the cashier. His former staff quietly ensured that any rogue proclamations were swiftly ignored. Despite initial skepticism about his health, Biden defied expectations. While many assumed his post-presidency years would be short-lived, he easily outlasted Trump's second term and witnessed his old rival's audacious moves, including the annexation of Canada and a bizarre invasion of Greenland that ended with a failed attempt to establish Mar-a-Lago North on a glacier. In 2026, Biden shocked the nation by announcing yet another run for president. "Folks, I'm back," he declared to a handful of reporters outside a diner in Scranton. The campaign, however, never gained traction, with Democratic voters politely steering him toward retirement during the primaries. Even as his political ambitions faded, one question remained: the identity of the mysterious operative who had orchestrated much of his presidency's chaos. Theories abounded. Some believed the operative was a radical ideologue bent on weakening the nation. Others speculated it was a foreign agent working to sow discord. A few conspiracy theorists even suggested the operative was AI-run, a program gone rogue. Yet, no one ever uncovered their true identity, leaving the country with one enduring mystery from Biden's tumultuous time in office. But more on that in a different video. As for Biden himself, he seemed blissfully unaware of the intrigue. Wandering through Delaware, tripping over steps, and occasionally trying to reinstate National Pancake Day, he remained, as ever, a man of unyielding determination, even if he sometimes forgot exactly what that determination was for. If this journey through this universe intrigued you, or at least made you laugh, don't forget to like and subscribe. The twists and turns of this alternate universe are far from over. More secrets and surprises await. Stay tuned. We have more stories to tell.